just walking around the airport, shouting random things. Brooklyn!
And here we go. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Samurai.
I'm Geneva.
I'm Zara.
So today we've gotten quite a bit of comments, feedback. So
Support.
we just finished the Trevor Noah's first Netflix special, African American. There was a comment, actually a few comments, suggesting us to do the between the scenes of his show, The Daily Show. I guess this is where he's talking to the audience in between filming. What do you guys think?
I think that's a good take too.
Yeah.
He's more personal, talking to the audience.
So this is between the scenes growing up in South Africa. I don't know when this took place. He's been a host for what, how long? Like 4 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Like 3-4 years now, yeah. And then also we are thinking about getting to the correspondent that's out of his shows. Like you have like Hassan Minaj.
Ronnie Chang.
Yeah, Ronnie Chang. So we basically at the Daily Show now, they have basically stand-up comedians that are part of that show. Yeah. So he's the host, but you got your correspondent. Even like Hassan Minaj has his own show as well, right? His own segment, his own show. So we want to get into all that.
Yay.
But right now this is wait, are we ready?
Yeah.
So again, this is Trevor Noah between the scenes on the Daily Show. The segment here is growing up in South Africa. So if you do like our reaction, please like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. All right, let's do this.
Let's get to it.
And here we go.
You know, we're watching this story about the Toy Hall of Fame, which is in Rochester. And we're seeing like all the toys that are being inducted. And so everyone in the office starts talking about their favorite toys growing up, right? So some people are like, oh yeah, no, for me it was Chutes and Ladders, and for me it was the sled, and for me it was this, was that. And then the people are like, what was your favorite toy growing up? And I was like, genuinely, my favorite toy growing up was a brick, right? Which sounds crazy. But Spinny, why do you walk away like I'm a crazy like you literally walk away like I'm saying the wildest thing? No, because so what happened was, we had when we were growing up, like I'd live at my grand's house in Soweto, and then what would happen is a lot of kids didn't have toys, but it wasn't like a sad thing, like, oh, I don't have toys. It was just like we play with whatever we find. And so the most popular thing little boys would play with was bricks, and your brick was, you'd play with it like a toy car. So you'd like walk around the neighborhood searching for the best brick, right? Because the game you would play, we didn't put wheels on anything. Like someone asked me in the office, like, you put wheels on it? No, there's no wheels. Where are we gonna find wheels? If we have wheels, we wouldn't have these problems. So we just took bricks. So you would find bricks, and then the game you'd play is you'd like drive around in the dirt with your brick car, and then you would smash into the other boys' bricks. And then if your brick was the last brick standing, you won the game. So like all of us, it was like a mission. You're like, man, I gotta find bricks. You just like walk around the whole day just like searching for bricks. And there was this one brick that we had called a face brick, right? Which is basically like a really beautiful brick that you can, bricks that you don't plaster over? You can just have that as the face of your house. That's what we call a face brick, right? And so that was like the dream brick. It was the most expensive brick ever. Like you could find everyone with like gray bricks and like the dark black bricks and like all those, but those bricks break. You come with a face brick, someone would everyone would see you, like you'd pitch up, you'd be like a pimp rolling up in a Rolls Royce Phantom. I remember like one day I found the face brick, and like I got there with like all the other kids were like, Memo, Memo, and I like got there like all swag. And I'm like, oh Trevor, are you playing? And then I was like, yeah, and I pulled my brick out from behind my back. And they're like, oh, face brick. And it's like, yeah, Bella, face brick. And it's like, let's go. And then you drive, and then like everyone rams in, and I'll be like, you guys ram me first. I'll just chill. And everyone tries to ram your brick, and because the face brick, it's like compact, it doesn't crack, and like everyone's bricks crack in half. People are devastated. Like, they see like kids smash their brick, and the brick cracks dead in the middle. They're like, brick, it's like a big thing. And then you like play, and you take the brick, and it was such a popular thing that you had to be careful if you lived in the townships, because kids would steal bricks from outside your house if you were doing renovations.
Yeah.
So if you weren't careful, you would have like all your bricks outside because you're like, oh, I'm gonna build a wall. And then like the next day you would come there and you'd be like, where the fuck are my bricks? And like all the bricks are gone. And then it's just like kids driving around like, it's like, are those my bricks? I don't know what you're talking about, man. This is my favorite toy. It just makes you realize, like you can just have fun with anything, man. It's like that's what genuinely my favorite. Right? Even now, when I see bricks, I get like I said to a friend, that's the one thing I don't like about living in New York. You don't see bricks often, like just loose bricks hanging around. You take that for granted. I walk around and I'm like, man, no bricks, no bricks, no bricks. And if I see a brick, there's a thing in me still till this day that wants to take the brick. And I have to stop myself and be like, you're the host of the Daily Show. You can buy all the bricks you want. And it's like, yeah, but take that brick, Trevor. Come on, you know you want to. Rush. And I always think, imagine if TMZ caught me on camera. It's like, Trevor Noah spotted stealing a brick. And then I'd be trying to explain it. No, it's a car. No. Is Trevor Noah on drugs? No, wait. It's so strong.
So cute.
What were you doing, Trevor? I was going to build my own wall. That's what you guys, you should let Donald Trump build the wall and then just bring like all the South African kids overnight.
In my grandmother's house, we didn't have a tap in the house. We had one tap shared amongst 4 houses. And that seemed like cool compared to my cousins because in the villages, they had one tap, which was like a mile away. So I'd go to my cousins to visit them for the holidays. And then I would my cousin would wake me up at like 5 a.m. I'll be like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, we gotta go get water. And I'm like, what? And then you get the wheelbarrow, and then you go. And it's fun when you're on the way there, because you're like, this is fun. You got your wheelbarrow, you're rolling. And then you fill them, you forget that you have to fill them up with water. It's these giant, giant, giant drums of water. And then you bring them back, and you're like, fuck. Like the whole time, you're just like, I don't need water. I don't need water. And like one day, because my cousin was shredded, like just because of that. Every single day was him just lifting a barrel. Which was like 400 pounds on a wheelbarrow, just pushing that every single day. And then one day I remember I was like, I can do this. And I took it, and then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then all the water gone.
No.
Just like all of it. Yeah, and then I was like, well, you shouldn't have let me take the wheelbarrow. I just pulled a Ben Carson. I was like, that was your bad. Did I know my life would turn out like this since I was a kid? Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was like 4 years old, and then there was like this little kid who like pushed me to the ground, and then I was like, one day I'm gonna be host of the Daily Show. No, I get what you're saying, and I'm joking, obviously. I'm being facetious. No, I had no clue. Nor did I wish for that. I'll be honest with you. I still joke with my mom about that till this day. I go, I did not know where life would take me or how life would end up. All I knew is that I wanted to be able to afford to buy as much food as I wanted to buy, like at any time. That was like the big thing in my life. Because like when you don't have money in a family, the food decision is the biggest decision you can make. So like, let me put it this way. We would go out for like takeout maybe once a month if we were lucky. And I remember the pressure that I was under, because you'd get the menu and then they'd be like, do you want a burger or do you want pizza or? And I was just like, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. It was such a big decision. And I remember one day I said to my mom, I was like, one day I'm gonna be rich enough to buy 2. And then my mom could have been like, shut up, kid, but she was like, yeah, you will be rich enough. Yeah. And I was like, and I'll buy dessert. She's like, you go buy all the dessert. All of the dessert. And so then now my mom was like, did you buy the dessert? Did you buy the dessert? And she pointed at my tummy, she's like, looks like you bought the dessert. In Africa, like, so my mom, she would let me watch like a sex scene in a movie. She would be like, I don't care about that. But if kids were playing with food, she'd make me turn the movie off. So whenever there's like, I used to watch those high school movies, those American movies, and then there'd always be a food fights in the cafeteria. Then my mom would be like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And then I'll be like, what do you mean? She's like, why are they wasting food? Then I was like, it's a movie. She's like, but it's real food. It's real food. It's real food. How can you waste food like that? And then I was like, it's like my mom was going, like parents would go, their children starving. My mom was like, we are starving in Africa. We're starving. Why are they wasting food? The first time I remember hearing a joke as a child was actually, I was with my grandfather, and we were at a protest in the streets in South Africa.
No, this is
and
good.
I don't know what the protest was for. I'm assuming it was anti-apartheid or whatever, but I was very young, and I was with my grandfather, and we were marching through the streets, and a policeman came by on a horse. And like policemen on horses is like, you like no one is comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like just generally, as black people, we're never like, yay, yay, he's gonna do the thing. No, you were terrified. A policeman on the horse, and this guy was like trying to move the crowd along, and he's like, move, bloody hell, move. And he got to my grandfather, and then my grandfather turned to him, and the guy looked at him, he's like, hey, why aren't you moving? And my grandfather turned to him, and he said, Master, can I ask you a question? And this guy was like, what? What did you say? He said, can I ask you a question, master? And he was like, and then he asked him a question, and to give you the context, that weekend, the previous weekend, there was our version of the Kentucky Derby took place. And then the winning horse was celebrated, and the president went and gave a kiss to the horse that won, a kiss, and it was like on the front page of the newspaper, the president kissing the horse. And so that's the context. So my grandfather turns to the cop and he's like, can I ask you a question? And the cop is like, what do you want? And he says, master, why is it that your president can kiss a horse, but he won't kiss my sister? And like you could see the cop was just like, he's like, what? And he's like, what? I don't know.
Confusing.
And I was like, and then my grandfather turned to him and he's like, because you haven't seen my sister. And I'll never forget the policeman's face, like he burst into tears laughing, because he was like, what? And then he just started laughing, and my grandfather was laughing, and I'd never seen two things. I had never seen like a policeman laughing with black people ever before. It was my first time seeing that, and it was just my first time seeing like how a joke could diffuse tension, how, you know what I mean? And then I just remember growing up, I was like, oh, I want to do that thing. I want to do that thing more. Diapers, I hate changing diapers. I don't have kids. I just hate changing diapers. I have two younger brothers, so I changed their diapers when I was growing up. And then at some point with my youngest brother, who's 20 years younger than me, I was just like, you're gonna keep shitting, so just don't wear pants. And I was like, it's easier to poop or scoop this person than it is. Like, so then my little brother would just come, I'd teach him. The thing was he'd just come running up to me and then he'd be like, Trevor, poo poo. And then I'd be like, all right, and then we just run outside and then I'd make him shit in the garden. Like I would like fold him. I'd hold his legs and his body, and then like I'd hold him like this, and then he'd be like a little turtle in my hand. And then I would hold him, and then he would shit, and then he'd be like doo-doos, doo-doos, and I'd be like finished. Then he's like doo-doos. Then I'm like, all right, cool. Now shake him a little bit, and then I'd take him. Yeah, and then I'd take him and he'd stand and then I would spray him down with a hose pipe. So take him, and he loved it. He was like, this is the greatest experience ever. And then I'd be like, just don't tell mom what we're doing. And then he'd always tell mom. He'd always be like, mommy, Trevor sprayed it at me with the hose pipe. Then I'm like, Jesus, kid, you're killing me here. He would love it. It was like a fun, and then I remember like one of the funniest things was like a year or something later, we're sitting together watching TV, and we're watching footage of police spraying people with like protesters with water hoses. And then he looks at me, he's like, Trevor, did they do-doos? Then I'm like, So in my family, my two younger brothers are, so from my mother's second marriage. And so I'm still the only person in my family who looks like this. So my mom is African woman, black Xhosa woman. My father's Swiss from Switzerland, so he was a white man. And so I look like this, and then my mom remarried a black man, so my brothers don't look like me either, right? And I remember what was really beautiful was my brothers, we always spoke about this stuff. So my parents, they were like, yeah, different dads, we get how this works. So my brother one day, I pick him up from school, right? He's really young at the time. It was maybe like, I'm trying to think, it was 9, maybe 10 years old. And he gets in the car, and he's just deflated. He gets in the passenger seat, and he fastens his seatbelt. And I'm like, what's going on, Isaac? And he's like, hey, Trevor. He's like, kids, man. I can't do this. Kids. So I go, kids? Tell me more. And then he's like, I just don't know what to do with kids, Trevor. You know, like today, one of my friends said, ooh, are we walking home? Then I said, no, my brother's picking me up. Then he said, who's your brother? Then I said, Trevor. Then now when we're walking, he sees you in the car. Then he says, who's that? Then I said, it's my brother. Then he says, but how can your brother be white? Then I said, he's not white. Yeah. He's not white, he's mixed. Then he said, but you're not mixed, you don't look the same. How can your brother not look the same? So now I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go through this. So then I'm like, so what did you say to him? And he's like, Trevor, I'd have to explain it the way kids understand. He said, I just said to him, I said, Zweli, you've got to understand, people are like chocolates, okay? Like you can have like a white chocolate, and you can have a dark chocolate, and you can have a milk chocolate, but it's all Nestle, okay? Any questions?
Oh, that is so good at telling stories.
How's Foofy? wow, that's a deep cut.
I won't be in the audience.
You can't just ask me that like just random. You got to be like, hey, Trevor, so I read in your book, and you can't just be like, how's Foofy? Because my mind went, who the hell? No, because Foofy died. So for those who don't, so I had a dog when I was growing up. Like one of the dogs we had, my mom was working at a pharmaceutical company, and her colleague came to work one day and was like, hey, my neighbor's dog impregnated my dog, so now I have all these puppies I don't want, and they're like this weird mix of like a bull terrier and a Maltese poodle. So do you want to take them? And the mom was like, all right, I'll take 2. And then my mom brought them home, and I'd never had a dog before, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And so we raised them, and it was 2 beautiful dogs. They looked completely different, but they were sisters. They were the best, Foofy and Panther. And my mom called the one Panther because she had a pink nose, so the Pink Panther. And then, and Foofy was like the dumbest, most beautiful dog ever. And Panther was the smartest, ugliest dog you've ever seen. And so like I loved Foofy the most because she just like looked really vicious. And I used to think that Foofy was really stupid. And then one day what happened was, like at our house, somebody was trying to like come into the house, like a family friend, and they were trying to open the gate, and then they moved the gate, and then the gate fell, and then Panther ran away because they like to sleep by the gate, and then Panther ran, but then Foofy didn't, and then the gate hit her, and then like it broke her spine. It was devastating. So then we went to the vet, and then like the vet was like, I can't help her, you know, we got to put her down, put her out of her misery. And the vet was like, but this was amazing. How did you guys raise a deaf dog? And we were like, what? And he was like, we were like, what do you mean a deaf dog? And he was like, oh, like afterwards, like when I was just going through examining her while she's still like living, I realized that like she wasn't born with, I guess, a certain part of the cochlea or something. And we were like, wait, this dog was deaf the whole time? And we just genuinely, I'd literally just be like, Foofy, sit! Listen to me! Sit, Foofy! I was like, you're so dumb! You're so dumb! And I never knew that the dog, and then we realized, what used to happen was, when we'd call the dogs, we'd be like, Foofy, Panther, and Foofy would never come, but Panther would come running sometimes, and then she'd like look at you, and then she'd run back, and then they would both come. And I always used to be like, Foofy's just dumb. And then I realized Panther was like, she didn't hear, and then she'd go back and fetch her. And then both of them would come. And then like now I went back and my husband was like, Vivi. Vivi. I miss you, Vivi.
That's good stuff.
So that's how Foofy's doing. She's yeah. What happened to Teddy from my book? And what's funny is randomly one day I was driving to a car dealership. I had bought an Audi, and I went to the car dealership because I needed them to help me with something. And then they said, we'll call our top mechanic. And just to give you a bit of a backstory, Teddy was my best friend in primary school, and him and I used to go shoplifting together. And then one day, like we were like busted shoplifting, and then we ran away, and then they caught Teddy, but then they didn't catch me. And then they had security footage of what happened, and they went to all the schools in the area looking for who was shoplifting with Teddy, and then they didn't know it was me, because the security camera was black and white. It was like the old school black and white cameras. And so they were like, we're looking for a white kid, because on the camera, it just in black and white, the camera chose white. So then at the school, they asked me, they were like, Trevor, come in here. They're like, you're friends with Teddy? I was like, uh-huh. And they're like, well, Teddy was caught shoplifting. I was like, uh-huh. They're like, there was someone with him. I was like, uh-huh. They're like, it was a white kid. Who was he? I was like, And then they just never caught me, and then Teddy never snitched or anything. He got expelled from the school, and then I thought like he went to jail or something. So, and I never knew where he ended up in life. 10 years later, maybe even more, I had an Audi, drove to an Audi dealership because they wanted to help me with something, and I pulled in and I said, can you help me? They said, oh, this is complicated, let's call our top technician and mechanic. And then they called the guy, and they're like, Theo, come out. And then he came out, and then it was Teddy. And I was like, Teddy! Teddy!
Long lost friend.
Teddy!
Wow!
Wow! So that's what happened to Teddy. All right, let's do this. I was and he was just like, what are you crying about? I was like, I'm so happy. It's like, dude, we're stealing chocolate bars. Why would you think I go to other you went to jail for life? It's funny, in South Africa, we have a
this is
saying,
so good.
And you must remember, because of so many of the struggle leaders in South Africa were either imprisoned or exiled, the movement in South Africa was held together in large part by women in the country.
And so it's weird for me because I understand you travel the world, you understand that everywhere feminism is different and the idea of women is different. But I grew up in a world that was very matriarchal and where women were the most dangerous freedom fighters that existed. No, this is true. You read up on Winnie Mandela. Like Nelson Mandela was an icon, but the police in the country were afraid of Winnie Mandela. You know, they were, and we had a phrase in South Africa that was, we still use it today, which was "Watinta bafazi, watinta mbokoko," which means you strike a woman, you strike a rock, and that's what I grew up learning. It was kudos, man. Kudos. It was fire. It was fire, and a lot of the time my mom would strike me with a rock.
Oh my God,
Shit.
so good.
Holy
Dang, y'all!
So good.
I love this.
Oh my gosh.
I can see why he's well loved.
Yeah.
He's really good. Yeah. Poor Foofy.
I love this, man.
Almost got teary certain parts.
Me too!
Yeah.
Me too! I was like,
It hits
I was
home.
like opening my eyes more. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
good, I'm good.
Especially with the dog,
Yes,
with Foofy.
Foofy.
Holy shit.
Now it makes sense why the spine broke, because she couldn't hear it.
Oh.
She couldn't hear
That's
the gate.
sad. That's
You can only
just
feel
sad.
vibration.
Yeah, she could. Yeah.
That's the sad. Yeah.
But yeah. 10 out of 10 videos.
But Foofy had a best friend.
Yeah.
No, her sister. Panther.
Best
Yeah,
friend.
best friend, sister.
Wow, this video, I really loved it so
Yeah.
much.
I was just expecting that first part, like with the rock. I didn't think it was like compilations of like all his other, you know.
Yeah, I didn't
Where,
So-
where do you see this? Did they?
Comedy
I guess we don't. They release it at some point.
Uh,
You said it's in ad breaks or something, right? Or commercial breaks during the show?
No, I guess it's in between. It's in between the scenes before they go to their segment reports. You know how he does the Daily Show,
Exactly, right,
and then
okay.
he just talks to the audience, and then they have like a little, you know, just entertaining the audience while they wait, instead of waiting in silence. I guess I don't know if you guys ever been to like tapings.
No.
So I've been to tapings. I've been to like America's Got Talent tapings and stuff.
What?
Yeah, like I
What
see.
haven't you done?
Huh? And then you go over there, and then you have you have like just so he's entertain the crowd, but over there you have like just people, like, you know, the crew
Yeah,
talking
they're
to
just
people.
adjusting,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you don't hear, they turn people's mics down. You don't hear them. You know, like Simon's mic or Howie's mic.
Yeah.
You don't hear them unless you're sitting next to them or whatever.
Yeah.
So you just, you know, just
Awkward silence.
not awkward silence, like just people there, like camera crew, you know, just the crew and stuff. Like you hear, like ushers and stuff. You know, just and people have their own conversation and stuff. So it's not like, I guess what he's doing is, instead of them just having the ushers talk to them or whatever, he's talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And it's also a good segment for the show, right? You have
Yeah.
your little thing, yeah.
I want to go to the Daily Show now.
Yeah.
He's
So-
slowly becoming my dream.
Me
man.
Yeah.
too.
So fun fact, not fun fact, but if every show that you see, Daily Show, like
Jimmy
Oprah, Jimmy Fallon, they're all free to go into.
Free.
They're all
I know.
free.
I want
But there's
to go-
lines, and then you have to make reservations. It's free reservation. Even Conan.
SNL, yeah.
Yeah, it's all free. You have to, like, so they have openings, right?
Yeah.
Like a month in advance. That's the opening right there, and then you have to sign in, and then you can't just walk in. There's certain dates you go
gotta wait in
into.
line. You gotta
Yeah,
wait, like a 2
Yeah.
days prior.
Where the
Yeah.
hell I been?
Yeah.
I've been
So if you
living.
want to see like an SNL
I've been
musical
doing
guest,
shit.
yeah.
that's my dream.
Like
I wanna go
when
to-
the other year I was in Comic Con, I was at Comic Con San Diego, and then when they remade the movie with Will Smith as Dumb Shot.
Oh, you went to Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad.
Nah.
No, I didn't. We were trying to get tickets to Suicide
Nah.
Squad. They were on the Conan. They were the
Oh.
Yeah, and then we saw them go, like,
You saw Margot
because
Robbie?
people were waiting in line, right? You know, because they know where the studio was, so people were waiting. And we saw them going into the car. I mean, weren't close to them, but we just see them being escorted into the
You saw
car and stuff.
Barbie.
So
You saw Margot
yeah, so
Robbie.
I gotta start getting out
Me
more.
too. Is he in New York? Is the Daily Show in New York?
I believe it is in New York. I see.
'Cause my dream is to go to the Jimmy Fallon one.
Yeah, but
SNL
like I
one.
said, before you go to
I
New
know.
York, before you go over there, you like a month in advance, you look at the reservation, like
Yeah.
if there's the opening, because they give you, like, let's say you go in September, the opening's in August 1st. So August 1st, all the slots open, and then you have to fill it out, and then you have to create a profile of yourself.
Oh.
But it's just like anything
Background
else.
check.
Yeah, background, you know, just stuff like
Nothing
that.
weird. Yeah.
And then
I
they
need
tell
to
you the
go.
dress code. Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
My dream is to go to a Trevor Noah now, or Jimmy Fallon, or SNL. Yeah.
I went to America's Got Talent, and
He saw How We Met Now.
yeah, how we met. Who was on? I forgot. Nick Cannon and stuff. Yeah.
Wait, who was the females? Was it Mel B?
I forgot who it was.
Mel B.
No, it was before Mel B. It was before Mel B.
Wait, Simon was there.
Yeah, Simon was there with Paula Abdul.
No, that's American
Idol. Sorry. No, I didn't go to American Idol. Well, anyhow.
I still feel touched about this show. I'm still thinking about that stuff over here.
Yeah, when he's talking about.
I hope the whole thing. I hope we can show the whole thing.
Yeah, so maybe we could break it up in pieces, but he is a really good storyteller.
Yes.
I was really engaged.
Rick.
Well, he made me love him more.
Yeah, that was good. Like almost. I mean, my eyes got watery. So
You're suckers for dogs. Yes.
So
Can I send 4?
So on that note, if you do like our reaction, please like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Ta-ta for now.
Dude, that was really good.
Oh, no, I was tearing up.
I need to go to New York.
My hair fell.